Hey guys, I'm Matt, a developer from Ohio, and in this video I'll be walking you through the Mad Libs project. To complete this project, you'll need to be familiar with variables, strings, and string formatting, which is when you use the %s symbol to inject one string into another. Let's get started. In this project, we're going to create a Python version of the game Mad Libs. If you're not familiar with the game, it goes like this. You write down a certain number of adjectives, verbs, and nouns, then fill them into blank spaces in a story that you haven't read yet. The result is usually pretty funny. We're going to prompt the player for words, fill those words into a story, and then print the result back to the player. At the top of our program, we have some triple quotes, which denotes a multi-line comment. We're going to write in a description of our program so that anyone who reads it will immediately know what it does. I'm going to write madlibs.py, which is the name of our program, and I'm going to write a description like prompts the user for words, then prints the story with those words. Let's take a look at this variable story. By the end of the project, we'll inject several user inputs into these blank spaces. We'll come back to that in a bit. The first thing our program should do when it starts is notify the user that it's up and running. So we'll print a message. I'll say print madlibs is starting. Our story is going to need a main character, so we'll start by asking the user for a name. We'll use the raw input function to get input from the user. We'll store that in a variable called name, and use raw input, and enter a string, enter a name like this. In between these parentheses is the string that will be displayed in the console. Make sure that you include a space here, otherwise the user's input will be jammed right up next to the prompt. Next, we'll prompt for 3 adjectives and store each as a new variable. I'll start with adjective 1, get raw input, and I'll prompt enter an adjective. And then I'm going to copy and paste this 2 times. And then we have to make sure that each of these is a unique variable name, because we have to save 3 separate variables here. So I'll have adjective 1, adjective 2, and adjective 3. We've been adding code, but we haven't been testing it. Save your program by clicking this button, then go to the terminal window and enter Python, which is the command to start a Python program, followed by the name of your program, which is madlibs.py. You should see your program appear. If there were any errors in your code, an error message will appear instead of your welcome message, a name prompt. That'll look something like this. It'll give you the line number and the type of error, so you can find the error and fix it. In this case, I've just omitted some quotation marks on this string. Next, we'll prompt for one verb and store that in a variable. Call that variable verb, get raw input, and say enter a verb. Then we'll prompt for 2 nouns and store those as well. Noun 1 will be raw input with the string enter a noun. And like with my adjectives, I'll copy and paste that, making sure to change this to a unique variable name. Lastly, we'll prompt for several specific things. These are exactly like the previous prompts. Just make sure that you're using unique variable names for each one. When that's all done, it should look something like this. You can use different variable names, but just make sure that each is unique, and use a descriptive word in each of your prompts so that the user knows what kind of thing to enter. Now we have all the inputs we need, but they're not included in the story. We can fix that by replacing every underscore in our story variable with the %s symbol, like this. Once you've replaced every underscore with the %s symbol, we can move on. The last line of our program will output the story by using a print statement. We'll print the story and insert all of the words by using the % symbol followed by a list of words in the order that they'll appear. Each word will take the place of one %s symbol in the story variable. So that will be print story and the % symbol. And then in parentheses here, we'll have a list of all of our stored variables. With that all in, it should look something like this. Again, you could have used different variable names, so just make sure that each of these match up in exactly the order that they appear in this instruction. You should have 18 in total. Now that the program is complete, we can run it by typing python madlibs.py into the terminal. You can also just press up on your keyboard to get the last command you entered. If you press enter, you should see that Madlibs is starting, and you can go ahead and answer each of the prompts in order. If everything went smoothly, you'll have entered your words and gotten an odd story out of it. In this project, we created a Mad Libs game in Python. We used variables, inputs, and string formatting. What you learned here will serve as part of the basis for the rest of your Python learning. I'm Matt for Codecademy. Happy coding!